Wait a minute, my brain's not working. Hey, it's your friend Mike O'Neill, the new My 97.5.
Mike Pesto here as well, and we've got guests.
Apparently, they've moved in.
In studio with us. I talked about this on the air on Tuesday because I don't know if you saw Darth Vader's lightsaber that he used in the second two Star Wars movies, Empire Strikes Back and Revenge of the Jedi. So not A New Hope, the very first one that came out, but that lightsaber is up for auction. First time they've ever had one of these. They're guessing somewhere in the neighborhood of $3 million.
Easily.
It's going to go for. So I was asking on the air, what's the most interesting thing you've ever collected? And I was reminded that I have like 4 or 5 actual honest-to-goodness Beanie Babies. And I've got this one over here, too, so I should add him to the mix. This is why you want to watch, so you can see all these things. So there's 3 in the studio right now. I have another 1 at home, and I think I have at least 1 more at my cubicle. So there's a total of 5.
Because of my grandson, I know it's not, but that reminds me of a Flummel. If you've seen the movie that the Flummels are in, I've got to remember what it is now. It's a new movie. It's either on Netflix or one of those. It's they look like little donut dudes with a circle in the middle of them. Yeah, and I can't remember what it is, but he's got no hole. So
I think he's supposed to be a squid, but I don't know. Let me see. It's Sheldon is its name.
What's up, Sheldon?
And it doesn't say what he is. Just he's just Sheldon, but yeah. But these 2, the Peace one I got in Santa Cruz. Where else would you get a Peace Bear than Santa Cruz? And I think that's worth a couple bucks. This one is actually called Teddy, so it's an actual teddy bear.
Teddy.
Beanie Baby, and I think that's worth a couple more because they use different innards with those. So these are the older innards, those are the newer innards, and I have really no idea.
I have no idea what constitutes either, probably. But
so yeah,
in terms of collections, I don't really have any collections per se. But the answer I'm about to give is where my wife would stand up and go, "Yes, you do." Because I've got hundreds of record albums.
Oh. Now, any that you know are worth something, either limited press or signed or?
Almost assuredly. There were, not in terms of, a sealed Bee Gees, There were a series of discs made by Mobile Fidelity back in the day. They were made on very, very pristine, thick vinyl. You could see almost straight through it. It was so pristine.
Oh, wow.
The grooves were very wide and far apart. They were Mobile Fidelity master discs is what they were called.
So less music on those, I'm guessing that.
Nope, it's the same amount. It's just, I forget how they do it. But when you listen to these records, they blow your mind. There's
Would you spin them slower than you would have?
Nope. I don't know exactly how they do it, but it's just, you can hear the difference. The clarity, the clearness, the dynamic range. It's clear as a bell. And I've got maybe 15 of those. I've got Steely Dan Asia. I've got Dark Side of the Moon. I've got a bunch of those.
Okay.
And I know that those will be worth something if they haven't melted in my garage.
Yeah, I wouldn't think of a garage in the valley would be the best place to keep those.
Well, there's so many of them. I've got them in a rack, standing vertically, so I've done the best I can with what I have. And I don't ever play them, so...
I know some people have a wine refrigerator. Maybe you should have an album refrigerator. Just keep it at a constant, perfect temperature for them at all times.
Jose, my son-in-law, just thinks that he should come over and just take them all home. But we haven't gotten to that place yet, Jose. I still like them.
At some point, they end up on eBay.
Right?
So I want to ask you something with the lots of time, 10 minutes or so we have left. This is another one of those, am I the a-hole? Questions.
Ooh.
I don't think I am this time, though. I think my wife may be. So
most marriage counselors would say that that's not a good word to call our wives. Just saying.
Or the other way around.
Right?
I mean,
I know what you're saying.
So the story goes, and this is what actually happened. We've been talking for a while now about getting a third dog.
Okay.
In fact, Valley Oak, not Valley Oak SPCA, but Visalia Animal Care Center. They had a free adoption event a while back. Every once in a while, my wife has to work on weekends. And it just so happened the Saturday they had the event was a Saturday she had to work. And she said, no, if I can't be there, I don't want you guys picking out a dog without me. I'm like, completely understand. This is a member of the family. We wouldn't dream of doing it. I just wanted to let you know that the event was going on. If there's any way you can get off the day of work, no, I can't. I'm like, okay, there'll be another one. No worries. So that happened, I want to say, about a month or so ago. Flash forward to this past Friday. My wife sends me a picture of a dog. And I know what that usually means when my wife does that. It's, I'm interested. Well, this time it went beyond interested. I'll give you the Cliff's Note version of the story. Apparently, someone that she works with has relatives in the Bay Area. 2 sisters. One sister had the dog for whatever reason, we still don't know, had to give up the dog. Gave it to the other sister. The other sister had to move into an apartment complex that doesn't allow dogs, so they were distraught, wondering what to do. Apparently, my coworker, the coworker of my wife, was telling Seska about it, knowing she loves dogs. Seska, sight unseen, said, we'll take her.
Wow.
So
I thought you were going to tell me you saw the picture of the dog and it was on your living room couch. I guess she is interested.
Just about. So she didn't have to work last week Friday because she worked Saturday. Another weekend she had to work. So she brought the dog by. There's a picture of me holding the dog, meeting the dog for the first time on our Facebook page. You see the look on my face because at that point I realized my wife has committed us to this dog. Again, without telling any of us, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. At this point, the dog is our responsibility. Either we keep the dog or we are now
have to move it on
to find a new home for the dog.
Yeah.
And it did lead to some contentious moments with my wife and I because I told her, listen, I would never have dreamt of putting you in that situation of bringing home a dog or committing someone to say, yes, we're going to take the dog and we'll take care of it. Why is it okay for you to have done that to me, putting me in that situation?
Well, at least they offered you the opportunity and the perception of thinking that they would honor that because I've never had that opportunity at my house.
So how does it work?
Both of our dogs became our dogs while I was at work and came home and, well, we found a beautiful, and I can just tell, I can hear it in Colleen's voice. I love it so much. There's no way this dog's not going
home. At that point,
home.
you're done.
It's just so going home. And the irony is the girls, each time, I love this dog, I'm going to love it forever. And then I got home with Panda, the dog we have currently, and Bertha, the dog who we don't have anymore, she passed away. Both of these 2 dogs, the girls loved them forever and brought them home. And both of these dogs fell in love with me. Panda sleeps right next to me every damn night. When I was sick with COVID, when we were sick with COVID for 2.5 weeks, that dog didn't leave my room for 2.5 weeks. I'm like, why do these dogs keep falling in love with me? I mean, they're great dogs, okay?
So it was their dogs by relocation, but your dog by just love for you.
And it lives here now, and I wasn't asked. But that's okay, because I do love the dog. For whatever, they always pick great dogs. I've been really lucky that way. They're rehoming. But you asked me a question, and I think that if you made your feelings known, why it was important to you, you gave legitimate reasons why it was important to you, and you were told that had value, I feel like it should have been honored.
Yeah, and we've kind of talked it through. My wife and I are both very stubborn. Very stubborn. Depending on the issue, sometimes she's more stubborn than I am, or vice versa. I've learned with her, when I know I'm in the right on something, give it to her, let her sit on it. It won't be at least until 2 hours later, at a minimum. Usually it's the next day I will get the walk up next to me, head on my shoulder. I'm sorry, you were right. And I kind of have the same MO. It's very rare that either one of it, in the heat of the moment, will say, you know what, you're right. Before we go on with this argument or this discussion, whatever you want to call it, with the point that you just made, you're right. we have a hard time doing that. We get to it eventually in most cases.
But I'm gonna say that's probably okay, because I think that brings us back to my counselor's favorite line. Put a space between the emotion and the action, because if I didn't, I'd have been divorced years ago. Because the things that go straight from my brain that want to go straight to my mouth won't keep me married to anybody, and so I have to go. We better take a moment, or you got to fall in love with being single.
I would say, just because it's occupational hazard, we do what we do for a living.
Yeah.
We talk on the radio, meaning we do put a lot of thought, effort, and energy to the words that we use. I'm not as guilty of that, saying something in the heat of the moment that, ooh, that's not something I should have said. I'm a little better at that maybe than she is, because she doesn't have that as an occupational hazard. With me, I'll tell her every once in a while. I will say something unintelligible, just because I'm tired and I'm slowing on my words because it's been a long day. But usually the word choice is right on. I'll tell her that. I may mess up how I say it, but I think I chose the right words in these situations.
When I'm stuttering and if I'm being honest, being a little passive aggressive, I'll say, "Honey, I didn't stutter.
Yeah,
I meant what I said. I never stutter." And so it's like, that's my way of saying, yeah, what I said is what I said, and what's your problem here? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, and then we've had this conversation before. Make sure you talk all those things out, and I'm to a fault. I want to talk everything out, every angle out, because when I see things happen like that, my first instinct is, okay, I see this as an incident, but is it a sign that there's a bigger issue going on? Like, I was just thinking about it and thinking about the issue with the dog. She did the exact same thing with my father-in-law. I mentioned that he commercial fishes in Alaska, or at least used to, before his back started aggravating him so much he couldn't do it anymore. So on one of his fishing excursions, when he was commercial fishing, he was in Alaska for a few months. When he came home, there were 2 dogs waiting for him. They have never had dogs in their house. They have never had any interest of having dogs in their house.
How did that happen?
My wife wanted it.
Apparently.
So my wife, I think, came from a background in the house where she was definitely the squeaky wheel, and she got most of the grease of the 2. She has an older brother. So as they were all growing up and living together, at that point, I don't believe was living at home anymore. She still was, so it was just her there, and the 2 of them. She's like, well, I'm going to adopt 2 dogs, and the rest of the family is going to be okay with it. So because that worked as she was growing up, I'm sure her mindset was, well, it worked then. Why shouldn't it work now?
What did Dad say with this go round?
He doesn't know yet, because we just got this dog, and at least this one isn't living with him.
Good.
So, and with that, he ended up loving those 2 dogs, to the point that when we got married and I moved her to Peoria, Illinois, and she's like, well, I'm technically the one who adopted the dogs. And he's like, no, this is their home. You're not taking my dogs with you. So the dogs
That's what Dad said?
Stayed.
Oh, I love him so much.
Yes. So he didn't put his foot down in the moment when the dogs got there. But when it came time for them to leave with her, he's like, nope, sorry, this is their address. It's like, bad enough I'm losing my daughter. Don't take the dogs away from me too, sort of thing.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
So, and it's interesting, and it's a dynamic I don't think you and I have talked about, is trying to look back and see what type of dynamic did you have growing up, whether you look at it now as being good, bad, or indifferent, and how much of that do you replicate in your own house, whether you intend to or not. It's just,
I know
this
the
is
answer.
what I'm used to, so as far as I'm concerned, this is the way it's done.
I know my answer to that question.
So
my father, when he was much younger, I'm the oldest of 5. I got a completely different father than my 2 youngest sisters did.
Interesting.
Because, well, everybody grows and gets better.
Good point.
By the time I was out of the house and he was finishing up on my sisters, he had mellowed a lot and learned a lot. He had gotten his master's in psychology. He was an MFST. He saved a million marriages at the church that he worked at, our Catholic church. The point is he was a different, better man. When I was young, it was his way or the highway. Done.
Okay.
And then I moved out and didn't see a whole lot of the change until I would visit. I'd be like, "Who are you?"
Where was this dad when I was growing up?
Because I'd see her, one of the kids do something dumb, and instead of getting their heads blown off, I'd be like, "Well, I'll do better next time." Better next time. In any event, but I brought that with me, and it took me some years to realize my dad was wonderful, but that wasn't the best part of him, and I need to let that go.
Now, how difficult was that for you? Because again, it's how you grew up. Okay.
Very, very hard. When I first moved out, I remember calling my dad and asking him about a facet of the church. And I said, "Hey, we believe in that, right, Dad?" And he thought really hard about his answer and really said, "You're 21 now. I'm going to let you make that call." And I got his point immediately. Figure it out for myself. And whatever I come up with is the right answer. It's no longer Daddy and Mommy said so, and that's the law.
Great point.